Hey everybody, welcome back to No More Pain with Modus and the Movement Doctor. Today we're going to talk about fifth metatarsal fractures or injuries to the fifth metatarsal. Most commonly that you'll see a fifth metatarsal fracture is in people that are constantly overusing and stepping on their foot. So the fifth metatarsal fracture, another name for this is called a Jones fracture. It's called a Jones fracture. And you can have two types of fractures here. One where it's more on the mid shaft, where there's less blood flow in the bone. And then you can also have an avulsion fracture, where it fractures and pulls part of the tendon with it as well, tendon or ligaments. The most common though you'll see is an actual mid shaft fracture. And with that, you'll see people getting rods put in to help stabilize it. And the rehab for that, depending on the person and the sport that they're playing, is between 3 to 6 months and possibly even more, depending on any complications or anything like that. One of the things that you'll normally feel with this is some sort of discomfort in this lateral part of the foot. Now with cross-country athletes, running backs, wide receivers, you'll see it a lot that they'll start feeling a little discomfort here and not sure of what it is exactly. And typically if you're having any pain in this area here and you push and press on it, someone does that for you, you'll feel the discomfort and you'll know if it's something having to do with the bone, because the soft tissue is right below it and up here it's pretty much just skin. So really what you're feeling here is right on the bone. And if you're tender on the bone, you're most likely in a stress reaction phase. It's before the fracture phase. And the reaction is pretty much just swelling around the bone. And so what we want to avoid is that swelling around the bone. That's kind of our brain's way of protecting it, our body's way of protecting it. If you ignore that, that reaction is going to continually get more and more weaker in that area of the bone and then lead to a fracture. And we call it a stress fracture because there's a lot of stress being placed on this area. Very common in the military where they're doing a lot of marching for all in place, or as they're kind of moving from one area to the other. So it's also termed a march fracture. But this area here is something that we have to be really considerate for of the bone. It's really important. If you're having any tenderness along this lateral side here, the likelihood of it being a bone injury is very, very high. So it's something not to ignore if you're running and training or overtraining, to make sure you give that some rest. So just to circle back again, when we're talking about any kind of discomfort in this fifth metatarsal, we want to start thinking about a bone injury. Anything on this lateral side of the foot, typically before this area here where you'll normally see like an ankle sprain, it would be more specific to that bone that runs from here to here. It's the metatarsal that connects to the phalangeal and then to the tarsals in here. So again, if you're having any discomfort in that area, an x-ray may not necessarily show up as any type of stress reaction or even a light small hairline fracture. The best way to diagnose this fracture is through an MRI. So an x-ray may come back negative and you're thinking that you're fine and you continue to run and you continue to train and it's still bothering you, and then it becomes a fracture. So my suggestion is, if there's any kind of discomfort here, you want to first see with an MRI, and that'll also reveal any type of stress reaction, and it'll show the swelling around the bone, which means that you're on the verge of getting a fracture. So we want to really prevent that. If you have any questions, always submit a comment. Thank you for viewing our video, and don't forget to subscribe and like us. Thank you.